Governor, the New York Times says that Tim Scott's endorsing Donald Trump tonight. What would that mean to your campaign?
We'll wait and see if it happens.
Have you talked to him lately?
How rude! She heard that second question and she just walks off. Politicians, especially inept ones. Better luck next time, Nikki. Sorry, but Tim Scott is going with Donald Trump. And he flew the plane into Hampshire and had a great day.
Oh, man, I'm so excited for the announcement tonight. Just tune in, pay attention, listen closely, and let's talk about 4 more years.
Right. Senator Tim Scott, Republican of South Carolina, who, of course, ran briefly for president himself. It did not work out, but this is a very well-timed endorsement, don't you think? Remember, he's from South Carolina. Nikki Haley actually appointed Tim Scott to the United States Senate. This is when that happened. People don't realize she picked him.
It is with great pleasure that I am announcing that I am appointing our next U.S. Senator to be Congressman Tim Scott. Hey.
How about that, huh? But that is something like a dozen years ago. And in politics, you know, loyalty, not really much of a thing in politics. And neither is gratitude. You don't hear much about gratitude either, right? But look, I think everything was off the table with Haley. After all, Donald Trump gave her a prime position, the United Nations. She got to hold her hand up, you know, vote on important matters, look like a serious person when it came to foreign policy, and that allowed her to run for president. What Donald Trump gave her. Not good, right? Here she is thanking President Trump for the opportunity right when she left the UN back in 2018.
I want to thank the president for just, you know, allowing us to come out and talk to you this way. It has been an honor of a lifetime. I said I am such a lucky girl to have been able to lead the state that raised me and to serve a country I love so very much has really been a blessing, and I want to thank you for that.
Such a lucky girl? I mean, I'm sorry, I am no feminist, but I don't think that's right for an adult woman to call herself a girl sitting there in the Oval Office. I think she uses it sometimes. She uses sexuality as a weapon, you know? When you kick in heels, it hurts or something like that. Anyway, this is what I really don't like about Nikki. There are a lot of reasons to not like Nikki Haley, but this is the one that really gets me. What she said in 2021, a few months after President Trump left office.
He still has a lot of popularity. If he runs again in 2024, will you support him?
Yes.
If he decides that he's going to run, would that preclude any sort of run that you would possibly make yourself?
I would not run if President Trump ran.
How do you go back on that? How do you? I would not run if President Trump ran. This is a career politician for you. What she really meant to say was, I would not run if President Trump ran unless I get enough money and I feel secure economically to do so. She went from being worth $100,000 or so when she left the United Nations to a reported $8 million now. Politicians, career politicians, some exceptions, but most of them just don't tell the truth, especially Nikki.
I would not run if President Trump ran. I'm Nikki Haley, and I'm running for president.
Criticizing her former boss, telling Politico in an extensive new piece, quote, I don't think he's going to be in the picture. I don't think he can. He's fallen so far. We need to acknowledge he let us down. He went down the path he shouldn't have, and we shouldn't have followed him, and we shouldn't have listened to him.
We should not want to go back to the Republican Party before Trump.
Donald Trump is everything we hear and teach our kids not to do.
What's that? Wildly successful, brutally honest. All that stuff is, of course, music to the ears of the fake news. Oh, and this is another thing that I have a problem with. Quite frankly, the fourth grade teacher approach she has when it comes to communicating. This is the very first thing she said when she declared for president.
The railroad tracks divided the town by race. I was the proud daughter of Indian immigrants. Not black, not white. I was different.
She's done that a lot. Not black, not white. People couldn't figure out who or what we were, as if folks in South Carolina don't know where India is. I didn't like it. But she did bring up in the very first words of her campaign video that her parents were immigrants from India. That's great. They were here legally, but they were not citizens. That's a little bit interesting. There was an article floating around the internet, actually says that a legal scholar asserts the U.S. Constitution disqualifies Nikki Haley from presidential or vice presidential candidacy. The fake news, because they have a big soft spot for this particular globalist, right? A woman, anti-Trump, right? They like that. So anybody who brings up this theory about Nikki Haley must be racist and ridiculous and right. Everybody said Trump is horrible, horrible, horrible. However, it's interesting, Vivek Ramaswamy, and I am a big fan of Vivek Ramaswamy. I have to admit, this took me a little bit by surprise, as it did the mainstream media. Here's Vivek sitting down with MSNBC News. I found this interesting.
You've talked about immigration and your own family, right? You and Apoorva both
kids of immigrants.
Kids of immigrants. Apoorva herself
came as a young age. Yep.
Came at a young age. You've talked about your mother's experience with the citizenship test. Did your father also take the citizenship test, and is your father a citizen?
He did not, and that's a choice that he has made for familial reasons, but my mother did. I believe in being consistent about my policies where...
So your father is not a citizen of the United States?
He's not.
Okay. And your mother, when did your mom take the citizenship test? Was it before or after you were born?
After I was born.
After you were born. Okay.
After years of being in this, following the legal process of becoming a naturalized citizen, she followed it through the legal process. And
so you gained citizenship through birthright then?
Well, but you gain citizenship through birthright citizenship in that sense too, right?
Wait, I'm sorry, just to backtrack. So your father is not a citizen,
They came to this country legally. They were in this country legally. So my view is any kid who is born in this country of parents who are here legally, that's the scope of where birthright citizenship applies. And I think it's a very simple principle.
It's okay to ask the question. From what I know, your parents are here legally, even if they're not citizens. It's okay to run and even become president, all right? But you can ask the question. You can. Because when I heard that, I was like, is that true? Because that hasn't been adequately reported, has it? It's funny, though, when Republicans, when there's a hint of a question, they go bananas. A little bit easy on Nikki. Also on Vivek, how about John McCain? Good old John McCain, all right? He let us down in a lot of different ways, but it wasn't all that bad. When he ran for president back in 2008, did you know he was not born in America? He was born in Panama. Yeah, his father was stationed there. Well, you got to be born in the United States, right? I remember there was a huge debate. It wasn't like, it wasn't racist to talk about this. The New York Times, NBC News, the Washington Post. This was a big deal. And yeah, he was a citizen in the end, right? Natural. But you could ask these questions. You can talk about them. Doesn't mean you're a racist. Doesn't mean you're a xenophobe. We got to talk about something, right? It's okay. It's okay. All right. And then there's this.
You cannot go to a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' Donuts unless you have a slight Indian accent. I'm not joking.
Raising questions about, birthright citizenship, that's okay. This is outright racism. This is not okay. But it's Joe Biden, like everything else. He gets a pass because he's in the club, the great big globalist club. Here's a pal of his, the guy he beat in the debate, Paul Ryan.
Biden is so weak that even Donald Trump polls ahead of him. But look at Nikki Haley's polling. I mean, she beats him by like 12 points in head-to-head polls. So I would prefer a candidate who I think would be a good president and who I know is going to win. And by the way, give us more seats in Congress. That's Nikki Haley.
Okay. I think he's talking to, is he at Davos? I think he's in Davos. This guy, Paul Ryan, man, first of all, from one glamorous seminar to the next, this is how he spends his life. Going and speaking and getting paid, dabbling. He is one of the guys who rules the world now. Why? Because, well, we, the American people, were paying his salary for a long time, career politician in Congress. He became the speaker. He's worth at least $8 million. I think he could triple that. And look at what he does for a living. Go to his Twitter page right now. What does it say? Paul Ryan, office of the 54th Speaker of the House. He gets an office. It goes with him. They do get a lot of perks. He's in the club forever. And I love this. I love this. These career guys, they really think they're princes and kings. You know, if you go to the Capitol, you can find not one portrait of Paul Ryan, not two, but three. Three different portraits of this guy. He was the chairman of the Ways and Means Committee, that committee, whatever. Three different portraits. The guy is, 52 years old. They're a little stuck on themselves, don't you think? And again, Paul, you let us all down. You should have beaten Joe Biden in that debate, right? You were nervous and fidgety, and for some weird reason, you were very, very thirsty, weren't you? Yeah. You lost to Joe Biden in a talking contest. That is tough. Anyway, he doesn't care. He's in the globalist club. He's making millions. You know, you get your ticket punched the right way in Washington, D.C., you are in. We all remember Bill Clinton. The guy whispering to him is McClary, a boyhood friend from Arkansas, and he was Bill Clinton's first chief of staff. Couldn't really hack it too well. He was only there for a little while.
Mr. McClarty.
Thank you, Mr. President-elect. Good afternoon. When President-elect Bill Clinton asked me to serve as his chief of staff, I pledged that I would do my very best to build a team that would work together to revitalize the center of our nation's government.
Everybody was so young. He didn't have that job for too long, but you don't need to have these jobs for too long. How long did he have it, actually?
Mac McClarty has served this country ably and well as Chief of Staff for 18 months. He was reluctant to take the job, and I will always be grateful that he did. He selflessly agreed to serve the country, and I would say he has a record he can be proud of.
All right. 18 months, fine. Selflessly. Well, after he left the Clinton administration, he set up something called Mac Global, all right? He is one of the big, powerful players in Washington, D.C. Mac Global, McClarty Associates. If you want to check it out, go to macglobal.com. You got a situation, he can fix it for you. Reports are he's damn near a billionaire just for a 1.5-year stint at the White House, huh? What a swamp. It is deep, and it doesn't want to be drained. Good luck, President Trump. We'll be right back.